Hi, in this video, we are going to discuss what's a VLOOKUP, index and match, XLOOKUP, and HLOOKUP, all of which are lookup functions that are available in Google Sheets and even in Excel. So lookup functions are used in spreadsheet programs in order to relate tables together. So for example here, I have a table on the left side, and this sort of like has the complete information that I want. And on the other hand, I have the table on the right side, which has the missing information. Now, the missing information I can derive from the first table, and send it to the other table. So to make it easy for our discussion, let's call this table as the parent table because it's the one that contains all the data. It's like our master list. And we have here our child table. It's the one that needs data from the parent. So we're going to first identify if the two tables have a relationship. So relationships mean that the two tables have a common column, a column that has the same data. So in this case, it has to be the manager name. So our child table has manager name and same with our parent table. Take note that we cannot use location and region codes as our relationship column because even though the columns exists on both tables, the data in our child table are actually missing, which makes it not reliable. And in the first place, those are actually the value that we want to show up here. So location and region code cannot be used as the relationship. It has to be a column that contains data that we can connect with the data of the other one. I also hope you noticed that the name of the column doesn't really matter. The one in the parent has the word manager as the header, while the one in the child contains manager name. So it doesn't matter, because they have the same data under them anyway. So they are related. So let's start. Let's start with VLOOKUP. So we're going to do a VLOOKUP of this name, F3, comma, and look it up under column B. As you could see, right at the start, we connect the two tables. We identify what the relationship is. We want to search for the value of F3 under column B. And take note, we cannot start at column A. You cannot say just highlight everything. No, you cannot. You have to start highlighting from the column B because that's the matching column. And then from that column, you drag to column C because column C contains the locations, the values that we are looking for. The next argument is for us to identify of these two columns that we just highlighted, B and C, which one do we want to send back to the child? Is it the first one or the second one? We want the locations, right? So that means we need to put the number 2 as the index number. It's the second column that we want. And then finally, we're going to identify whether the data is sorted or not. It has something to do with the approximation or exactness of the data. I will show that to you later. But for now, I can type here false because my data under column B is not sorted anyway. It also means that I am looking for an exact match. FYI, some people actually don't use the word false as the last argument. It's possible that you will see 0 instead of false, and that is fine. False and 0 are interchangeable in Google Sheets, even in Excel, at least in this scenario. So enter, and we got the matching column, for the location. So let's double check. Let's manually look for that name, Mike Walker, and there you go. It's in Louisiana, and we just found our answer. So that's how VLOOKUP works. Now, why are there other lookup functions? Isn't VLOOKUP enough? Well, the problem with VLOOKUP is that, if you remember, we have to highlight from manager going to the location. If our data is different, like for example, in this problem of region code, it's going to be from manager going to the left. VLOOKUP cannot do this. VLOOKUP is limited to going to the right side. So in that scenario wherein we have to search for Mike Walker and give a value on its left, we have to use index and match. So index, open parentheses, we are going to index the region codes under column A, and then identify which row among my region codes, okay, should I put here. So I don't really have to look for Mike Walker. I don't have to type the number 16 in this case because Mike Walker is on the 16th row. Because if I do that, yes, I'm successful in getting the region code of Mike Walker. But if I cascade this formula downwards, I will keep getting the same value because I just hard-coded or I just typed the number 16 in the argument. So we have to use another function in this case. So instead of 16, we are going to use match. We are going to match Mike Walker's name, F3, under column B. And then we also want an exact match, so we have to type false. Or like what I said, instead of false, you can also just use 0. And then close. So you do not have to search for Mike Walker yourself and identify what row Mike Walker is in. Instead, you let match do that for you. That's the job of match. It finds the name or the value and then gives you the number, okay, where that value is found. And that's it. That's the difference of VLOOKUP and index and match. VLOOKUP, you can only use it if your data is searched from the left and then this one that will show up is on the right. If it's the other way around, VLOOKUP is useless. You can use index and match instead. Take note that index and match is considerably more powerful compared to VLOOKUP because if I want, I could also use index and match in order to give the location. Let's try. So I'm going to put here equals index. This time I'm going to index the locations under column C. And then we're going to match, okay, the name F3, comma, and then search for that under column B, and then comma 0. So enter, and as you could see, index and match can also perform what index and match can do. So we just learned that index and match can perform either going to the left or going to the right. Well, that's not a surprise. Index and match is composed of two functions, while VLOOKUP is just a lone function, so it can only do like one thing. Now later on, Excel actually created a brand new function, okay, which is XLOOKUP. So they sort of like simplified how lookups are done in Google Sheets or in Excel first and then Google Sheets. So here's how XLOOKUP works. So let's say that I want to find out the region code using XLOOKUP. So I will start, of course, with XLOOKUP and then click cell F3, our name, Mike Walker, and then look it up under column B. And then comma. So we already set the parameter we're going to look for Mike Walker under column B. And the last argument is simply what column contains the values that we want. So in this case, it's going to be column A. I want the region codes. So I'm going to look up Mike Walker under column B and show up or pull up the corresponding region code under column A. And that's it. Very easy, right? Very straightforward. Compared to VLOOKUP, compared to index and match, XLOOKUP is far more simpler to perform. And you get the same answer. So right now, it's actually safe to say that XLOOKUP is going to be the next big thing. Okay, because right now almost everyone who uses Google Sheets or Excel uses VLOOKUP. But with XLOOKUP simplifying things and being more powerful, because it can actually look up to the left, it can look up to the right, then we may enter a time later that everyone uses XLOOKUP instead of the other two. And that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.